Alright, so the first thing we did when we got to the murder scene was we took photos of everything. We took photos from the four corners of the crime scene, and we took photos of as much evidence as we could. Through reading Mrs. Bausman's story, we saw that her and Mr. Warsaw didn't have the best relationship. This led to constant fights over, the main thing was attendance, which he never submitted on time. So Miss Bausman was angry. Through her interview, we saw that she was going to school at NA after school to drop off stuff for Mr. Furr, who was substituting for her the next day. Where were you on between 4 and 9 p.m. on February 14th for Valentine's Day?
Valentine's Day. Well, I was home that day from work. But I had to come up here and get some stuff to give to Mr. Furr because he was covering my desk the next day.
What time was that at?
I was here, I guess it was around 5:30.
So she was at school at the time of the murder. So a series of long arguments over attendance. Her and Mr. Warsaw just didn't have the best relationship. Your little paragraph that you provided for us. We read it, and how often did Mr. Warsaw forget to record his attendance?
Don't even get me started.
Really?
Seriously. I mean, I don't know if you ever see me in the morning trying to track down people who didn't take their attendance.
Yeah.
But he's forever forgetting to take his attendance. And I have to track him down every single day.
Every day?
Every day.
Did he ever have any reasoning behind?
He just forgets.
Just forgets.
Just forgets. I'm tired of it.
And we decided to take fingerprints and a hair analysis of Mrs. Bausman so we could analyze it later.
So using the fingerprints that Ms. Bausman provided us, we could look for ridge endings, which is a ridge that ends abruptly, bifurcation, which is a single ridge that divides into two ridges, or lake or enclosure, which is a single ridge that bifurcates and reunites shortly afterwards to continue as a single ridge. We also looked for dots, spurs, and crossovers, or bridges, or any other irregularities. We then looked at each fingerprint and called it an arch, loop, or swirl, and then compared it to the prints on the crowbar and noticed some similarities. Using the hair analysis, we identified the cuticle, cortex, and medulla. With the hair sample, we learned how many hair types there are. There is African American hair, which is curly and contains unevenly distributed pigment granules, while Caucasian hair is usually straight or wavy with more granules, and it is more evenly distributed pigment. Every race has things that we could work for. We also tell by putting it under magnification if it came from human or an animal, and we could also tell the color of the hair. We found some DNA under the victim's nails, probably trying to fight off the suspect. We used the chromosomes to determine the gender. We determined the suspect is a female.
Analysis, we took 3 different types of powders and the substance on the floor, and for each of them we added a drop of water, a drop of iron, and a drop of iodine, and we compared the reactions to each other, and the end result, salicylic acid ended up being the substance on the floor because their results were similar looking. The results of the blood spatter was that it told us where the suspect got hit, and by using cosine, sine, and tangent, we could tell by the way the blood dropped on the floor and the length of the splatters.
We tested the victim's blood from the crime scene, Mrs. Dewey's, Miss Pretty's, Miss Schofield's, and Mrs. Staub's. We tested for anti-A, anti-B, and anti-D. Using different combinations of positive and negative, we determined that the crime scene blood matched 2 other people, Miss Pretty and Miss Schofield. Their blood type was A positive.
We then performed a PCR test using a drop of blood from the crime scene and a drop of Miss Pretty's blood and a drop of Miss Schofield's blood. They go through a process called electrophoresis. The DNA is placed in walls at the top of the gel. The fragments are separated by electrophoresis. With our results, we determined that Miss Schofield ID'd the killer of the murder.